Hello and welcome or welcome back. Today's exciting episode is a look back at everything I made and all the UFOs I finished for September.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
It has been a while since I've done an Everything I Made video, months in fact, so let's get right into it. We have quite a few jackets that were UFOs that are finally finished, and also a few, this is the last month I think I did a lot of patchwork dresses. So this is Cinderella blues, sort of periwinkle blues, and this is one of the jackets. The jacket is Linton tweed and the pattern is Vogue V7975. Such a good pattern. And this tweed, they don't do this tweed very often, but it's gorgeous. It's a really thick one, really densely woven in navy blue, and there's also lighter blues, gold, wine. It's such a rich, gorgeous colour. And the skirt is just a gathered cotton lawn skirt, and I've got my 1950s petticoat under, and this is the dress from the side, and now I've added a sash and I've used the red one again because there's a vintage Ladybird book where the Cinderella dress is blue with this red bow. So if you watch the episode for this dress, that I talk about the book that inspired this color combination. So this is them from the back. It's a pullover dress. The bodice is Butterick 6677, and the skirt is me just using up its big long strips of fabric gathered down. As you can see, there's 3 different tiers to it. In this photo, it's just me using up all my scraps of fabric. Actually, a lot of this was fat quarters, and that's why there's such a uniform size, but there's also big slabs of other fabric in there as well. The bottom tier, you can see I ran out of strips of scraps of fabric. Goodness me, that's a tongue twister. And I had these big sections of fabric, so it's sections, then a leftover strip of fabric, then a section. So yeah, I love this. The skirt is so ridiculously full, and I used up so much fabric in it, and I love it. From far away, it kind of looks a little bit like a denim dress, which I'm fine with, but I love all the patterns in there also. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to bead the blue one, the navy one with yet, but I love it. It does need a little weight. And now we have 3 more jackets that I finished. We have, this is a vintage Linton tweed, and I just love this colour combination. Next month is Desperately Seeking Susan month, and there's something very 1980s about this to me. I'm not really familiar with 1980s fashion. I'm just saying, generally speaking, that's what it reminds me of. I suppose you could always also say that it falls into the Clueless type category, you know, that iconic suit she has, sort of. It feels more 1980s to me because of the bold colours. Anyway, again, I've used the Vogue 7975. I love this pattern. It's really good. I was originally going to do a beaded trim for that one, but now, I don't know, I think I'm probably going to do small to medium-sized black beads. This one is Oscar de la Renta, and it's a winter weight tweed, so it's sort of a bulky wool, which I wouldn't do such a fitted jacket unless I knew, like I know I'm going to do really heavy beading on it, so it's going to work. But it is a very bulky wool type tweed. So I've got it in this wine colourway, and I also have it in a khaki and olive colourway. So as you can see here on the back, I've already started doing the beading. It's brown and sort of brown adjacent coloured glass beads, so they're sort of small to medium, but they're quite heavy because they're solid glass. I love doing all over embellishment on tweed. It just makes the jacket fit so much snugger. It's just awesome. And this is one of my magenta Chanel tweed jackets. I've bought enough of this fabric to make 2 jackets. They're both Vogue 7975, but one has the custom-made fringe that I made on it, and the other one is just a plain jacket. I mean, it's Chanel tweed, so it's not plain. And they don't have the silk part of the lining in them yet. I'm going to bead them first and then I'll add the lining. So I'm really looking forward to those ones because I've had them for such a long time. Next, we have a few more dresses. Again, I was determined to use up scraps this month, and this I'll show you this one so I can take the fringe off. This is another custom made fringe. It's a really long one. So the jacket is sequin jacket in burnt orange, and now you can see I've taken the fringe off. I'm going to bead it like this with colours matching the fringe, and then I'm going to stick the fringe on, hand sew the fringe on, because it would just be so frustrating to try and beat it and like navigate around that long fringe. It's gorgeous. It's going to be gorgeous once it's done, but it would just be too frustrating. So there we go. There's that. And the two dresses, again, the top I used Vogue Butterick 6677, just a pullover bodice, and the skirts are just strips of fabric pleated down and sewn together. The colourful one was red rose fabric in the top, and the second tier was just of both dresses actually, fat quarters sewn together. I think I cut them in half and then sewed them together. And then the bottom one were just, the blue was a strip of blue fabric that I was going to use in a different layer cake dress, and then the black and white dress is actually quilting fabric in black and blue, but it sort of looks like black and grey. So yeah, and I love how full the skirts are. It's amazing. I didn't have as much fabric as I wanted. This is just a close-up on all the different bits. So they had a sale on fat quarters. I think they sort of sell most of them at full price, and then when they only have one thing left, or two of some things left, then they sort of sell them off at a reduced rate. And I managed to get some really good really interesting colours, but yeah, I only managed to get like two of one or one of one, and this is the blue one that I was going to use on the other. If you see my episode on how to make a layer cake dress and how my layer cake dresses evolved, that I made a dress right at the end of that episode, and I was going to use the blue on that, but I ended up not, because the skirt of that dress was long enough. Anywho, next up we have 3 more UFOs finally finished. This is an old Linton tweed from, gosh, I think I've had it for a decade. It's got ribbons and this other strange yarn that's denim coloured, and I love it. And this one is, I bought, this is a Chanel tweed, and I bought enough to make 2 jackets, one of them, and then I bought a little bit extra to make fringe, and I did sew the fringe on, which is why it looks like it isn't hemmed yet. I also sewed fringe onto the cuffs, and then I sort of put my arm in and tried it on, and it was so itchy. I'm one of those people who, like, when you make the jacket, the tweed jacket, it's got a silk lining, so the wool doesn't itch you. But dyed wool, there's something about it. If it's just cut and it's the itchy ends of the fabric, maybe I just used too sharp a scissors. Anyway, the fringe was really itchy, so then I took it off, and I also took it off around the bottom as well, which I guess I didn't really have to, but I did. So I think with the 2 green Chanels, I'm going to bead one to emphasize the green in the tweed, and the other I'll do blue beads to emphasize the blues, the beautiful blues in there. So next we have the 2 pink dresses. I did both of these in a video, or I finished them off camera, I think, and I used them and showed them in a sewing vlog. The bright pink, in real life, the 2 pinks aren't that different, but the bright pink one looks much brighter on camera, and the one that looks almost beige, it's weird. In real life, it looks pretty in pink, like slightly musk, but very, very much pink. And it looks a bit like pajamas or a night dress or something if you don't have a sash on it. So I've just popped a sash on it. And the bright pink one has the 1950s petticoat underneath it, obviously. And that's, I think the 3 tiers of that, 3 yards, 3 yards, 6 yards, 12 yards. It's a really full skirt. And the top of, this is a keyhole top that I turned into the bodice of a dress, and then the skirt part is just pleated down fabric. I think that whole dress was 3 yards of fabric, 4 yards of fabric, including the big puffy sleeves. Next up we have the orange and navy jacket. And this was made using Berta Super Easy pattern, Berta 6123. And I like in the pattern on the left, the lady has like, it doesn't meet right in the center. There's a bit of a gap. It's on her because she's got a bigger bust, but I'm more flat. So I just narrowed down the 2 front panels so that they don't meet in the middle, and it sits really well. It allows me to use more beading if it doesn't close right across my chest. So I did, at first I beaded, there's 3 videos of this jacket. It took me that long to do. It's a simple jacket to make, but obviously I overcomplicated things by putting a lot of beading on there. What I love about this is I was able to use big beads, small beads, and medium-sized beads. And yeah, it's I did the grids like at the edge of each big check first, and then I thought maybe that would be enough, but it looked weird because it's such a tiny jacket, like it's a small size jacket, and it's a massive big print. So then I went back and did another round of beading. And then we have, I decided this one needs its own shot, this green dress. This is one of the first ones I did this month, the scrappy dress. It's lots of leftover bits of fabric and I cut them all into strips, and I quite like this video. And I'd done the pink and green dress, and then I still had all these green strips, leftover bits of fabric left, and I didn't have a big full bit to do the bodice, so that's also horizontal strips, whereas the skirt is vertical stripes. And I love it because it's leftover bits of, so I'm just like, oh, I know what dress that's from, I know what dress that is from. And yeah, I love it. It's so big and full and vintage looking and scrappy, but also, yeah, not messy scrappy. I was worried when I did it because I felt like it felt a little bit hodgepodge as I was doing it, but I was really relieved when I saw the final dress. I was like, no, actually, this is really beautiful. So yeah, because I mean, I was just using up scraps, so I was a bit worried that it was going to look like it was, you know, a plate of leftovers, but I'm really happy with the way that one turned out. It just looks like a ray of sunshine. I mean, I know it's green, not yellow, but I don't know, it just looks like the happiest houseplant has gone outside and is sitting in the sun or something. I don't know. I just love the energy of it. And then I think this is last. We have 3 more jackets. This one is the olive and khaki Oscar de la Renta tweed. Again, it's that bulky wool tweed, and it's got little flecks of gold in there. You can't really see it, but I like it. It's subtle, but it's still in there. And there's also, again, the brown and the beige in there. So I think I might do heavy glass beads on that one. Well, I'm definitely going to do heavy glass beads, but I haven't decided what colour. And this one is a knit. Again, I used the Berta 6123 pattern, the super easy one. And it's a really bulky, chunky knit. I love it. I bought it from Mood Fabrics maybe 5 years ago. And it reminds me of like Bambi, you know, a little baby fawn deer, because they've got those coloured spots on them. So I'm not sure what colour beads I'll use on this. Definitely need to use heavy glass ones because it's so bulky. I need to sort of weigh it down so that it feels more luxe, basically. I think maybe clear glass beads as well as smoky black and some dark brown as well as mid browns, sort of transparent ones though. I think that will be gorgeous. And this is a Chanel tweed, a really old one, and I bought it at a European designer fabric bridal store, and they sort of had a mother of the bride section for suits that they could make them for the mother of the bride, and that was there. It's just really subtle. I love it. It's forest green, black, tiny flecks of caramel in there and white. It's really beautiful. It's very grown up and mature, more so than most of my other tweeds, but it's beautiful. I am just beyond excited that all of these are done and I finally get to bead them. So yeah, they're such beautiful tweeds, and I really look forward to when you're beading them, embellishing the embellishment work. You're basically just staring at this beautiful fabric for, you know, hours and hours and on end, and you just get such an appreciation for the tweed. I love it. And then when you're wearing it, you know how completely gorgeous it is. I love it. It's such a better experience than like just going to a store and buying something. This way you feel like you really know the jacket, and of course you do literally know how it was made. So that is it for the September makes. Goodness. It felt like I was making so much more, but I suppose when you're doing the scrapwork dresses, you have to basically make your own fabric first by sewing lots of the other bits together. So it just feels like so much work. But then you like get to gloat because you're like, I used up my scraps. I used up all my leftover fabric. No, I'm not too bad, but it's such a good feeling when you don't contribute to landfill, or I think it is anyway. And then I showed you this gorgeous Linton tweed, and I've never actually seen them do that colorway again. I've seen it in beige, but yeah, that navy one is beautiful. Then the three sort of darker red ones, the Chanel, I can't pick a favorite, probably the Chanel or this Linton, vintage Linton one. I'm going to bead that next month for Desperately Seeking Susan month. I love the orange shredded cellophane in there. So quirky, so fabulous. There's something very London punk about it. Oh, I do have spikes. These sort of bead sort of spike things that you, yes, or little safety pins. Anyway, so then I showed you two more of the fat quarter dresses in the colourful one and the black and white one, as well as the sequin jacket. Next we had three more UFOs, and these were two green Chanel tweed jackets, as well as the Linton one in green ribbons and denim. Ooh, I don't really have time to get out my beads at the moment, but I am so looking forward to beading all of these ones. They're gorgeous. Next, we had the two pink dresses, one with the scoop neck, one with the keyhole neck. And then we had the navy and blue jacket, the Berta 6123. That has its own separate playlist, but there's also, for all of these, if you want more detail on any of them, there is a whole September 2023 playlist. And then we had the green dress made out of fabric leftovers. And then lastly, we had two more UFOs, as well as the Butterick 6123 out of the fawn coloured knit in the background. Wow, that's it. I have got a lot of beading to do and some very fabulous dresses to wear whilst doing all that beading. Thank you very much for watching. As I said, if you want to see any of those videos, or there's loads of detail in every single video, and that is the playlist for September 2023. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you've been inspired to get a few of your UFOs finished before the end of the year. I am so looking forward to beading this one. You know, sometimes you overlook something, or you just keep moving on to all the other things, and yeah, I forgot how beautiful this tweed is. It's just, all those bright colours, it just makes me so happy. And I quite like the idea of making it punkish with some of those silver spikes or maybe some little safety pins. That seems awesome. And that fringe just took me forever to make. Anyway, thanks again for watching and happy sewing.